Catherine will speak on my behalf. Mrs. Meghan Markle has repeatedly written to the palace seeking our intervention in the Epstein matter, but, like Andrew, she must face her own consequences.
Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your family just signed a paper to take away all your help and money forever. That is exactly what happened to Meghan Markle. It was a cold and quiet decision. There was no big fight in person. There was no phone call to explain why. It was just a signature on a piece of paper. But that signature was like a giant door slamming shut. Prince William was the one who held the pen. He was the one who made the choice to cut the final tie. Meghan thought she was still protected by the royal family rules. She thought her husband's family would always be there to help with some things, but she was wrong. When the news reached her, she did not start an argument. She did not scream or yell. She just sat there and looked at the paper. She read the words over and over again. She read the very last sentence one more time to be sure. This was not just a small rule change for a little while. This was permanent. That means it was for good and it was never going to change back. She realized that William had done this himself. He wanted this to happen. Before we talk more about why this is such a big deal for the royal family, please make sure to click the subscribe button. You do not want to miss any of our new stories and updates. Meghan sat at a table in the morning. There was a cup of coffee right next to her. Usually she liked her coffee, but today she did not even touch it. She just stared straight ahead. The paper in front of her was a formal notice. It talked about the money and the help the palace used to give her. This help was for things like security and office work. It covered the costs of things she had to do for the royal family. Even after she and Harry moved away and stopped being working royals, this help stayed in place. It was like a small bridge that still connected her house to the king's palace. It was the very last link they had left. It was not just about the money in a bank account, it was about still being part of the group. Meghan read the notice 2 times. She used her hands to press the paper flat on the table. She wanted to make sure it was real. She looked at her advisor and asked a very important question. She asked if William was the one who signed it. The advisor looked back at her and said yes. The prince had signed the order. He ended every single payment. He ended all the money that was supposed to come back to her for expenses. He ended the promises of support. He ended the help with office work. Meghan did not say a word. She was not just angry. She felt something much colder than anger. She realized the palace did not see her as part of them anymore. They were treating her like a stranger. Harry did not stay quiet like Meghan did. He was very upset. He started walking back and forth across the room. He could not sit still. His heart was beating fast and he was frustrated. He called the move a punishment. He said his brother was taking a family problem and turning it into a mean rule. Harry thought his brother was just trying to get revenge. He thought William was being mean because of things that happened in the past, but Meghan saw it differently. She did not think it was just about revenge. She thought it was a plan. She knew that this financial help had lasted for a long time. It had stayed even when other money was cut off. It stayed because of an old royal promise. No one had ever officially ended that promise until now. Someone had finally decided to close that gap forever. The last parts of the paper made things even worse. The order started right away. That meant the palace had been planning this for a long time before telling Meghan. They did not give her any time to get ready. They did not ask her what she thought. They just did it. Then she saw a sentence that made her face change. It said that she could not appeal the decision. That means she could not ask them to change their minds. William did not just stop the money for a bit. He made a rule that was impossible to break or change. He wanted to make sure this was the end. Meghan felt even more shocked when she found out more details. She learned that the order came after a secret review. This review was done by William and Catherine. They looked at secret money records that Meghan was never allowed to see. Knowing that Catherine was part of the review was very painful. It meant that the future king was not acting all by himself. His wife was helping him. This made the decision feel even stronger. The hidden records made Meghan wonder what the palace thought they had found. She wondered what secrets they were looking at. But the real power of William's choice was not just about the numbers. It was about the people involved. It was about a battle that had become very personal. To William, the order was about following the rules. It was about discipline. But to Meghan, it felt like she was being erased. It felt like they were trying to pretend she never existed. Their fight was much bigger than just headlines in a newspaper now. It was not just about broken trust or hurt feelings. Money had become the way the royal family showed who belonged and who did not. By taking the money away, the future king was sending a message. It was a message that was much louder than any talk could ever be. It was a message of finality. The person who felt the most pain was probably Harry. He was stuck right in the middle of a terrible situation. On one side was his brother who signed the paper. On the other side was his wife who had to deal with the fallout. He felt trapped. William stood alone before his next big palace meeting. He kept saying a phrase over and over to himself. He said institutional separation. Those are big words that mean a total break. It meant that Meghan's house and the palace's money system were now completely separate. William knew these words would sound very mean to Meghan. He had taken on more work lately. He was protecting the royal money and the future of the crown. He was doing this because King Charles was staying away from the hard family fights. To William, the money help was a risk that had to end. But to Meghan, it was proof that the palace still had duties to her and Harry. Meghan turned to Harry and spoke very quietly. She was so calm that it was almost scary. She told him they could survive without the money. She said they could rebuild their own support. They could pay for everything themselves, but she said she could not accept the way they did it. She hated that they used a formal letter instead of just talking to her. She felt humiliated. She had not been warned by William. She had not been called by Charles. She was just told it was over. Harry kept walking around the room. He wanted to defend his wife, but he also had to face a hard truth. He thought his brother might actually believe he was doing the right thing for the monarchy. That thought made the betrayal feel even worse. Harry could say the order was bad, but he could not say William was being careless. William had thought about it a lot. He knew it would hurt, and he did it anyway. Catherine had tried to warn William before he signed it. She told him that Meghan would see this as being kicked out forever. Catherine told him to do it slowly. She suggested waiting 6 months or making a quiet deal. She wanted to stop another big public fight, but William said no to all the soft ideas. He told Catherine that being unsure was worse than being finished. He said that leaving even a little bit of money help would just keep the fight going. He wanted to close the door and lock it so the conflict would never come back. Later that night, Meghan took out a folder. It was made of leather and held all her palace papers. She found the last palace contact card she had. It was a card that showed she was connected to the royal house. She grabbed it and tore it right down the middle. She put the 2 pieces on the table. She told Harry she would never ask the palace for help again. Harry watched her and then he told her a secret. He told her about a meeting that happened months ago. He thought that meeting might be why William finally decided to cut them off. That meeting had seemed quiet at the time, but it was actually the start of the end. It was the moment William stopped trying to make things work. It did not start with a big speech. It started behind a closed door at Windsor. It was a meeting about money. Meghan had challenged William's right to look at the money rules. She said he did not have the power to change things that were made before he was in charge. The meeting only lasted 20 minutes. No one was screaming or raising their voice, but one sentence changed everything. When Meghan left the room, William quietly told his staff to look at every single link to her house. He wanted to find a way to end it all. William was under a lot of pressure during that time. The palace was looking at all the old money rules. They wanted to see where money was going to people who were not working for the king anymore. Every old agreement was a risk. Meghan thought the meeting was just for updates. She did not think her support was in danger. She joined the meeting from far away on a computer. She listened as officials asked about the costs for her security and her office. She felt like they were ganging up on her. She argued that the costs were necessary. She said the palace was trying to change promises they had made a long time ago. William stayed very calm, but the distance between them grew. Then came the sentence that no one would ever forget. During that meeting, Meghan told William that the money rules were made by King Charles. She said they could not be changed by a future king who was not in charge yet. Those words were very strong. She was trying to protect her deal, but William heard something else. He heard her telling him he was not the boss. He saw it as a warning that she did not trust his future leadership. William did not get loud. He just closed the folder. He took off his glasses. He looked at the people sitting next to him. He said that maybe they should decide if the deal should even exist in the future. Meghan knew right then that it was a threat. She left the meeting thinking William was trying to get back at her, but the real choice happened after she left. William told everyone to stay in their seats. He told them to find the legal way to end the deal forever. He told them to look for every tiny financial link to Meghan's house. He was not asking if they should change things anymore. He was asking how fast they could stop them. Charles later got a report about the meeting. He read what Meghan said and what William said. The king chose not to stop William. His silence meant that William could do whatever he wanted. When Meghan found out William was leading the whole thing, she wanted to talk to him. The paperwork had been done in secret, but the feelings were finally going to come out. When Meghan and William finally talked, she did not ask for the money back. She wanted to know why he was being so mean. She wanted to know why he didn't just tell her the truth to her face. William listened to her. He did not interrupt. He kept his face very still until she said he was using money to punish her. She said he was doing it because she challenged the palace. That made the calm feeling break. It was not a talk between family members anymore. It was a crash between two people who saw the world in different ways. Meghan had asked for the talk through Harry. She did not want to talk to office workers who did not know the real reasons. She wanted to talk to the man who signed the paper. William agreed to a private video call. There were no helpers or lawyers watching. Usually those people are there to help royals use soft and nice language. Without them, there was nothing to hide the anger. Meghan looked at William through the screen. She asked him if he liked signing the paper. William waited a second. He put his hands on his desk. He said that liking it did not matter. He said it was his responsibility. He said the deal only lasted this long because nobody else wanted to make a hard choice. He said the royal family could not keep giving money while they were being attacked. Meghan fought back. She said he was turning family pain into a mean punishment. She said the monarchy was always cruel behind their fancy words. Meghan said she never tried to use the money system the wrong way. She said every request was for security or family duties, but William told her why he was so firm. He said there were records that showed she tried to make the deal bigger. He said she tried to get more protection and more money for traveling to other countries. He said this proved the deal was getting out of control. Meghan said the palace made things confusing and then blamed her for it. Harry came into the room while they were talking. He told William that cutting off Meghan was like cutting him off too. Harry's voice was very tight. He said William was lying about it being just about rules. William told Harry that family and money were not the same thing anymore. Finally, William said the order would stay. Meghan reached out and turned off the call before he could even say goodbye. Once the talk was over, everyone looked at the king. Charles had to choose between an old promise and his son who would be the next king. Charles did not sign the paper, but he let it happen. For a long time, he let the money deal stay because he felt guilty. He did not want to fight with Harry and Meghan. But William had finally done what his father was too afraid to do. When the paper came to the king, he could have stopped it, but he just read it and let the time run out. He let the decision stand. Charles is the boss of the monarchy, but he was letting William make the big choices about money. He was letting William decide the future of the family. This was a big change. It meant William was already making choices that would change everything. The king sat alone with the file. He saw Meghan's name. He saw a note from Harry. Harry was asking him not to let their family ties die. Charles read that note twice. It made him feel guilty, but it also made him feel tired. He was tired of all the arguing. Every time he tried to make peace, a new fight started. Camilla told Charles not to go against William. She said that if Charles stopped William now, it would make the future king look weak. She reminded him that William was doing a hard job that no one else wanted to do. If the king stopped him, William would only look strong when things were easy. Catherine told Charles the same thing. She said William saw this as a test. He wanted to see if the monarchy could stop feeling guilty and start being responsible. She said they could not keep spending money just because they were afraid of someone getting upset. Charles then found out something that changed his mind. He found out that if he kept the deal, he would have to sign it every single year. That meant the fight would never end. It would come back every year and he would have to choose between his sons over and over again. The time was almost up. Charles looked at the phone. He almost picked it up, but then he stopped. He did not call anyone. He did not ask for a review. His silence was the final answer. The king was letting the order happen, but far away in America, that silence was starting to hurt. Meghan started to lose things before she even had breakfast. She sent a normal request for help, but it was sent back. The message said her time was up. Then her security helper stopped answering his phone. Then an office person said they would not pay her back for any more costs. In just a few hours, the words on William's paper became very real. Meghan was not just on the edge of the family anymore. Every door was being locked. Every link was being cut. She sat at her kitchen table while her manager told her the bad news. The money for expenses was gone. The help for old royal bills was gone. The security help was gone. Now they would have to pay for everything themselves. This was hard because those connections had helped them travel safely. Meghan stayed calm until she heard the word permanent. That was the word that changed her face. She was not scared of the money. She was mad at the message. She felt like her whole time in the royal family was being closed like a bank account. The palace did not call to explain. William did not say goodbye. Charles just stayed quiet. To her, it felt like they wanted her gone forever. Harry felt like it was his fault. He told Meghan he thought his father would stop it at the last second. He thought Charles would at least give them some time to get ready. Harry thought the money was the last thing keeping him tied to his family. Now that tie was gone because of his brother. Meghan pushed the notice toward him. She told him that his father had a chance and he did not take it. Harry looked at the paper and could not say anything. Then a second notice came. It said they could not use their titles or Harry's old royal office for any more requests. The old system was totally dead. They also found out that other departments knew about the cut before Meghan did. Everything was timed to happen all at once. Meghan started to write a very angry message to the public. She wanted everyone to know how mean the palace was being. But later that night, she talked to Harry. They were both tired of fighting. They had to decide if they were going to keep trying to stay connected to a family that did not want them. That night, they sat alone without any helpers. They looked at the paper and realized the truth. Trying to stay a little bit royal was keeping them trapped. It was making them sad. Harry wanted to call his dad one more time, but Meghan told him no. She said asking the palace for help would just give the palace power over them. Meghan's team had already written a mean statement. It said the palace was being unfair and trying to hurt them. It was a very sharp message. If they released it, it would start a brand new war. Everyone would be talking about it. Harry thought there was still a chance for peace. He thought if he talked to Charles, they could make a deal. He hoped his father would listen to him as a son, not just as a king. He hoped a door was still open, but Meghan was sure it was not. She told Harry she would never ask William for anything ever again. She said the money deal did not help them be a family. It just made them dependent on the palace. It made them wait for the palace to decide if they were good enough. Every payment was a reminder that the palace could change the rules whenever they wanted. Harry finally told the truth. He said he had kept the money deal because he hoped it would lead him back to his father and brother. He thought it was a bridge. Meghan told him it was the opposite. She said it just made them wait for an invitation that was never going to come. Harry looked at his phone. He looked for his father's number. Meghan put her hand on his. They did not say anything for a long time. Then Harry turned the phone over. He did not make the call. Meghan decided not to send the angry message. Instead, she sent a short message saying she accepted the change. She said they would handle everything themselves from now on. Meghan's quiet answer surprised William's team. They were ready for a big fight. They had their own mean messages ready to go, but since Meghan was quiet, they had nothing to do. For the first time, it didn't look like Meghan lost. It looked like she was finally free. The link that controlled both sides was gone. The story went all over the world by the next morning. People on the news called it a financial divorce. Some people said William was a strong future king. Other people said he was a mean brother. There were crowds outside Buckingham Palace. Some people were happy the money was cut. Other people had signs saying family should not be cancelled. The story was everywhere because it felt so final. It was the end of Meghan being part of the institution. A temporary stop can be fixed, but a permanent break is forever. It was a cold message. The monarchy was saying there was nothing left to save. People were divided. William's fans said the money should only go to people doing royal work. Meghan's fans said it was just revenge. They thought William was using his power to win a family fight. One big newspaper had a giant headline that said the final cut. It showed a picture of William looking strong and a picture of Meghan looking sad. The contrast was very sharp. It made them look like they were in two different worlds. Outside the palace, people were shouting. Some said royal money should not go to people who left. Others had a banner that said family should not be cancelled by a signature. Those words were very popular. William saw the newspapers while he was in his car. He did not say anything. He wanted things to be clear, but he had just made the public fight even worse. Harry watched the news and got mad. He hated when people said Meghan was defeated. He said her silence was not her giving up. He said she was refusing to play the game anymore. The palace then said for sure that the deal was over. There were no secret talks. Nothing was going to change. But Meghan started to get more sympathy because she was being so quiet. She wasn't attacking anyone. She was just being independent. The news would eventually go away, but the feelings would stay. The bond was broken. In the end, William got what he wanted. The money was gone. The rules were clear, but it did not feel like a happy victory. It felt like a heavy silence. Meghan was free from the palace, but she was also alone. William had protected the monarchy, but he had lost more of his family. He had chosen the crown over his brother's wife. He was ready to be a king who chose the institution over feelings. Meghan took the last palace papers and put them in a box. She closed the lid. She was not angry anymore. She was just sad. The money cut was real. There was no secret fund. There was no help coming. Every royal system was gone. Meghan and Harry started to fix their own lives. They got their own security and made their own plans. They did not include the crown anymore. Meghan knew the decision was meant to make her weak, but it also took a weight off her shoulders. She did not have to wait for people to like her anymore. She did not have to wait for permission. Harry had a harder time. He finally saw that the small royal links did not keep the family together. He had thought they were bridges, but they were just delays. They kept him from seeing how far apart they really were. He finally let go of the hope that was already gone. William got a message saying all the accounts were closed. He told his helpers to leave. He sat by himself. He had done a good job for the palace, but he had lost his family. He showed everyone what kind of king he would be. He would be a man who followed the rules no matter what. Charles felt the weight of it too. He knew the power was moving to William. He knew he had let a family bond break in silence. This was the end. Both sides had finished the separation. William had his clarity. Meghan had her independence. Harry lost his last bridge to home. It ended with a signature and a lot of silence. Now there was nothing left to argue about. The story was over. Neither Meghan nor the royal family could say anything was left unfinished. They were moving forward in two different directions. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We will see you in the next one.